With that in mind, President Trump's tariffs have stock futures plummeting again this morning. The Dow is down more than 1,100 points, while the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ have both dropped by 3%. This follows a market freefall to end the trading week, capped off by the Dow losing 2,200 points on Friday. It was the first time that the index had ever lost more than 1,500 points in back-to-back days. The massive losses were also fueled by China, announcing on Friday it would impose a 34% tariff on all goods imported from the United States beginning this Thursday. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to downplay the tanking markets, writing on social media last night that his tariffs are a beautiful thing to behold. Minutes after that post, he spoke to reporters on Air Force One.
There's been some speculation, partly because of the video that was posted on Truth Social, that there was some sort of deliberate effort on your part to have the market sell off. Can you talk about that?
No, that's not so. But I do want to solve the deficit problem that we have with China, with the European Union and other nations. And they're going to have to do that. And if they want to talk about that, I'm open to talking. But otherwise, why would I want to talk?
Is there pain in the market? At some point, you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put. Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I mean, I think it's I don't want anything to go down. But sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.
So, Mika, of course, you had the administration officials, mainly billionaires. It's quite a look, isn't it? While working class Americans and middle class Americans are getting lined up for a new recession where they're suffering, billionaires are sent out to talk. But this is from the Washington Post. Some quotes here. It's actually Elon Musk, of course, said that he hoped that the United States would eliminate tariffs, got into a fight with other members of the administration. You actually have Charles Koch leading a lawsuit against the tariffs, while Republicans in both chambers are organizing a legislative effort to roll them back. Not enough yet for it to matter. And this Bill Ackman said the risk of not doing so will drive the economy into a recession, possibly a severe one. And he talked about a economic nuclear winter. Well, but then again, somebody said something on a college campus that upset Bill once. Ben Shapiro, the right-wing pundit and co-founder of the Daily Wire, called tariffs, quote, probably unconstitutional. As far as whether it's constitutional or not, the president has declared emergency powers right now and is using actually vehicles that have never been used before for tariffs. So there is a constitutional question, and I don't know how the Supreme Court's going to, again, conclude this. But any power the president has here has been given by Congress. Congress can take it back if they choose. Again, They probably won't choose to because it's, again, you have
one way out of this.
I wonder what legislators in Texas and Oklahoma and other oil states are seeing as we go towards 60. And then oil goes below 60. And I mean, it seems like they're going to just sit back and let the economy implode if we keep moving in this direction. I hope we don't. I'm really hoping that again, there will be a moderating influence on these extreme tariff numbers. But right now, it doesn't look like any Republicans willing to do that.
Well, and President Trump's cabinet officials hit the Sunday talk shows to defend his tariffs. And we heard some conflicting messages. Here are Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
The president on Saturday urging people, quote, to hang tough, saying it won't be easy. And I guess the big question on people's minds, Mr. Secretary, how difficult is it going to be? And how long are Americans going to have to hang tough?
Well, again, I reject that the assumption. There doesn't have to be a recession. Who knows how the market is going to react in a day, in a week. What we are looking at is building the long-term economic fundamentals for prosperity.
Can you help provide some clarity for folks? How long will this period of uncertainty be? Are we talking about weeks? Are we talking about months? Are we talking about years?
Again, this is an adjustment process.
So let me just ask you, is President Trump willing to negotiate, or are these tariffs permanent?
Well, I think that's going to be a decision for President Trump, but I can tell you that as only he can do at this moment, he's created maximum leverage for himself. And more than 50 countries have approached the administration about lowering their non-tariff trade barriers, lowering their tariffs, stopping currency manipulation. And they've been bad actors for a long time, and it's not the kind of thing you can negotiate away in days or weeks.
There is no postponing. They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks. That is sort of obvious. The president needs to reset global trade. Everybody has a trade surplus, and we have a trade deficit. We are paying away our future and our lives.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm just curious, Richard Haass, if you've been seeing the Treasury Secretary over the past week, he looks about as comfortable as a New York Giants head coach predicting a Super Bowl championship next year. He is not, Scott Bessent, not comfortable with what's going on. You can see he's not comfortable with what's going on because he doesn't know a single person around him that he's worked with for the past 30 years in the markets comfortable with what's going on.
That's exactly right. Look, Joe, let's just call this what it is, and you got at it. One is this is an economic war of choice. This is not something that had to happen. This is, what football players would call an own goal. Second of all, the president, I have the quote here, he says that sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. The problem was the patient wasn't sick. This is economic malpractice. Let's call it for what it is. It's created problems rather than fix them. So when Scott Bessent goes out and he talks to his friends, of course he can't find anybody who's going to support what is going on. And then the mixed signals make a bad situation worse. So let's just call it for what it is. It's totally self-created. And the real question is, seems to me, one, how do we get ourselves out of it? But we shouldn't kid ourselves on another thing. Even if there's a degree of economic recovery, someday there will be in the markets, a lot of the damage here will be lasting. The United States will not again ever have the same reputation. The dollar won't have the same strength. The rest of the world's willingness to tolerate American debt will be much diminished. This will have lasting consequences, even if at some point what's become our 301s becomes a 351, even if it doesn't recover fully to a 401k, even if there's a degree of financial recovery, the reputational cost of this will be deep and lasting.
It's pretty extraordinary right now. I want to underline, though, and I think this is very important as you hear Bill Ackman being shocked by what's going on, and you hear Elon Musk actually striking back at other members in the administration. Jonathan Lemire, it bears repeating. For those on Wall Street who are acting shocked, for those in Middle America shocked by what's going on right now, it bears repeating. President Trump, when he was candidate Trump, on the campaign trail, constantly promised this is exactly what he was going to do.
This is not a surprise. Now, the severity of it took aback even some of Trump's supporters, but he told us he was going to do this. He was at rallies night after night all over this country and was cheered when he said he would levy these tariffs against China and the rest. Now, what we've seen here is business leaders had convinced themselves this was a bluff. This was a negotiating tactic. They recall his first term, where, yes, he did put some tariffs in place, but they were not as big as expected. They had sort of minimal impact. He took them off, put them back on, took them off. They thought this was a negotiating ploy. Even in the early weeks of this term, he was really inconsistent with the application of tariffs, willing to hold off on things, willing to reduce things. But now they're here. Liberation Day arrived, and the tariffs were very real, and they were significant. And business leaders just now, and some of his billionaire friends, are catching up with what that really means. And it's not just them, of course. This is impacting everyday Americans. A significant part of Americans. This is not something that just matters to billionaires. A significant part of Americans do have money in the markets. They have retirement accounts. They've watched them evaporate over the last 2 days in preparing for more losses today. And also in the days and weeks ahead, we're going to see the impact with prices as well, as the goods that are coming overseas with these new tariffs will suddenly cost a lot more. And these are voters, many of them Trump voters, who are going to pay as much of a price here as anyone else. He told us he was going to do it, and at least for now, he's sticking with it. Pain be damned.
We want to get right to CNBC. The anchor of Worldwide Exchange, Frank Holland, is with us. Frank, tell us what things are looking like.
Well, Meek and Joe, good morning to you. Great to see you as always. So I think most of us are familiar with the idea of the rule of threes, but when it comes to a potentially historic three-day sell-off, looking at futures, all three major indices down 2.5% or more, sparked by the tariff and Trump policy of the Trump administration. Investors, they just continue to try to figure out what are the rules and what's coming up next. So here's what we know for sure right now. More than $5 trillion in U.S. stock market value wiped away on Thursday and Friday, another $2 trillion in market value around the world if you exclude the U.S. and the reciprocal tariffs scheduled for April the 9th, they are still on the table. So today, Morgan Stanley out saying to expect another 7 to 8% decline in the S&P 500 as tariffs weigh on the economy and investor sentiment. We seem to get some clarity about those April 9 tariffs from the president yesterday, where he said he'd be open to deal with China. That follows a lot of conflicting reports for days about if the tariffs are in fact negotiable. But unlike other times when the administration or reports indicated a deal or possibly a more measured approach was on the table, the markets, they did not respond positively today. So on my show, Worldwide Exchange, we had a highly respected market voice, Stephanie Link of Hightower. She says she's buying some stocks, in particular Meta and Chipotle, seeing some opportunity in those declines. However, or Jim Cramer taking the complete other side of the argument. He advised against any quote-unquote buying the dip today. He also said he would hold cash until we see a potential response from the EU on these tariffs. And this morning, we're getting a lot of international response today. The German economic minister talking pretty tough about standing up to the U.S. Also, the prime minister of Japan scheduled to talk to the president this morning. And China today also accusing the U.S. of quote-unquote economic bullying when it comes to tariffs, even calling on representatives of American companies, including Tesla, to take concrete actions to resolve these tariffs. And with all this, we have several big banks raising their odds of a recession. Our exclusive CNBC CEO survey today, released today, has nearly 60% of CEOs seeing a recession this year. And then, of course, we got something coming up. 1 month from today, we have a Fed decision. A lot of questions about how our central bank will respond to all this uncertainty.
All right, Frank Holland, CNBC.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you so much.